I'd like to welcome you to today's media availability with Trackhouse Racing. Pitbull, the Grammy Award-winning global superstar and co-owner of Trackhouse Racing, running a few minutes behind, but we are also joined today by Justin Marks, the co-owner of Trackhouse Racing, and driver Daniel Suarez. And I just want to start it off today asking you, Justin, a lot of great news surrounding your race team as we head here into the 2021 season. Can you just talk a little bit about what you have going on and all the great developments that have taken place over the last few weeks?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Thanks everybody for taking the time today. This is just, a vision kind of coming together. I mean, this has been in the works for probably really 2 years now. And so, for us to be able to put all the pieces together to stay, steadfastly committed to that vision and the goal and what we were trying to build, to see it all come together here as we prepare to get ready for the Daytona 500 is pretty awesome, pretty special. I mean, I made no secret from day one that what we were trying to accomplish here, and that's to be a team that's unique in its branding, that's unique in its mission and the narrative around our activities, and to try to, communicate with fans and try to create content and to try to create visual elements around this team that are unique and captivating and compelling for lots of fans. So I think that we've done that so far. We've got some great partners and sponsors and partners of the race team, and everybody's excited to be a part of it. So yeah, it's really nice. I mean, now we're within 7 days of unloading the cars down there, so it's getting pretty real.
Good deal. Well, we're going to open it up for questions for both Justin and Danny, and then Pitbull will join us when he gets here. But our first question will come from Mike DePasquale with Fox Miami. Go ahead with your question, Mike.
Thank you, Daniel. This question is for you. I wanted to ask you how this deal all came about involving Pitbull, and he was quoted as saying NASCAR is not only a sport but a culture. How much of an influence do you think that he will have as an owner with you and the Hispanic community as far as attracting new fans?
Yeah, well, it was extremely cool to hear how this was actually, getting into shape. I have known people for a few years. We have some friends, good friends in common. But I didn't have a personal relationship with him at all. And when Justin, mentioned to me the possibilities that they were out there, I thought it was just amazing. And I'm just extremely excited to have somebody like Pitbull as part of this organization, Trackhouse Racing, to help us. Take the word out of what Justin's vision is on this race team, and that's actually the reason why I'm here as well. Justin's vision in the racetrack and outside the racetrack is extremely important. If Justin, was only focusing in everything that is going on outside the racetrack with the STEM programs, with helping the community. The Latino community, etc., and not really caring much about the competition, I wouldn't be here. And probably if he was only focusing in the competition without everything else that is outside the racetrack, probably I wouldn't be here either. So it's just a combination of things, and already people share the same vision than Justin to try to help others and to change the way that people actually view the sport. People say something that I totally agree with him, and probably I didn't think about that in the past, is that NASCAR, other than an amazing sport, is also a culture thing. It's extremely culture on how different generations, different families are so involved into the sport, not just as a sport. So I really think that he hit it right on the point, and I'm really looking forward to do amazing things with Trackhouse Racing, Justin, Ty Norris, and of course, people now that is on board.
Well, thank you. But specifically, real quick, if I can ask, opening the door to the audience of the Hispanic community, which is more in line with F1 racing, a lot of those type of fans, to bring those fans to NASCAR.
Yeah, of course. NASCAR has no limits. Obviously, we want to make this sport as wide as possible. We're not just talking about Mexico. We're not just talking about Latin America. We're talking about worldwide. Actually, that's Pitbull nickname, Mr. Worldwide. So why not? Pitbull is a Latino like myself, and I was amazed to know that his biggest fan base is actually not in the United States or not in Latin America. So that tells you how big is the impact that he is going to be able to get for this racing, for this organization, and hopefully we can do an amazing things together.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Mike.
Next question is going to come from Dan Gelston. Go ahead with your question, Dan.
Hi, I was just wondering if you guys could discuss what it's been like to be around Pitbull. How involved has he been so far? How involved does he expect to be going forward? What your interactions with him have been like?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of these guys that really commands a room. He's got such a big personality. He's so passionate about about his mission and what he's dedicated to, the place that he's trying to carve in the world. He's been fantastic from day one. I mean, really, from the first moment we sat down and started talking about it, it became apparent that our missions were aligned. There were so many elements of what both of us were trying to achieve that were consistent with each other, that it just felt so natural, serendipitous almost. And he's been very involved. He's been asking questions. He's been engaged and excited. And I've been sending him pictures of the equipment coming together and the pit crew practicing and all that. So he's very, very excited. He's looking forward to really helping out a lot and being an asset, being, someone that can kind of take our platform to as many people globally as possible. Obviously he'll be at Daytona and at Miami and a few more races this year. And I think he's kind of in a mode where, he wants to learn. I think that he's humble enough to know that he's got a lot to learn about this sport. But he's been very engaged. He's going to be a great partner. I mean, having somebody like that come in is, sometimes it's transactional in its nature, but this has not been transactional at all. I mean, this has truly been a partnership among people that are passionate about the sport, passionate about the Trackhouse brand, and really want to contribute to seeing it all the way through and trying to make it as big as possible.
Our next question will come from Michelle Martinelli. Go ahead with the question, Michelle.
Apologies. My question was actually for Pitbull. Sorry about that.
Good deal. Our next question will come from Bob Pockers. Go ahead with the question, Bob.
Yeah, Justin, along the lines of what you were saying, I've seen a lot of celebrity owners come in and they're here to kind of generate sponsorship, and some of those work out and some of those don't. Why will, is this one aligned with trying to get sponsorship, and why should this one be different than some of the others we've seen?
Well, like I said, I think a big part of it is the fact that we both have aligned passions and missions. I mean, one of the core components of Trackhouse is trying to find a way to make an impact in America's minority youth communities, and that's through a STEM program that we're putting together. We want to cultivate great stories that inspire people. I mean, we're storytellers, right? And I think that's evidenced by the fact that we're turning impossible into possible, and it's that message. It resonates with a lot of people, and that's something that's important to Armando through his music and through his partnerships as well. And it's so consistent with what we're doing that it's really about something bigger than sponsorships. It's bigger than the race team, bigger than just the sport. It's about storytelling. It's about inspiring people. And I mean, look, we have a driver who moved to America, whose dream it was to be a NASCAR driver in a sport where there'd never been a Latino champion ever. And he did it. And then you've got, Armando, who grew up from very humble beginnings in Miami and wanted to be, a global icon and transcend his community and take his message to the world. And against great odds, he did that. And so that's just kind of who we are and the story that we're trying to tell. And I think because it resonates so deeply with all of us, it's going to be different than I think what you've seen in the past. And I'm excited about it, Bob.
Thank you.
And Mr. Worldwide has joined us now. And so we will continue on with questions. We're going to go to Dustin Long with NBC Sports. Go ahead with the question, Dustin.
Thank you. This is for Pitbull or Armando, however you wish to be addressed. Hey, I want to ask you, in an interview with NPR a couple of years ago, you noted that you never looked at your life like it was rough because it was just your normality. And as you've done various things to help improve what someone might think of as their normality in their life, I'm curious how you feel like your role as a team owner in NASCAR can contribute to that and help drive that sense.
Well, for one, I apologize for being a little late. Got caught up in a jam on the way here to the school. It's good to see all the kids back in school, so there's a lot of traffic out here. And number two, I just want to say thank you to Justin, thank you to Danielle for the opportunity of being able to be a part of this. When I was speaking about what my normal was, I thought that everybody was around violence, drug abuse, killings, murders, things of that nature growing up. I thought that was everybody's normal in everybody's city. It's when I started to venture out in different parts of my city and see that clearly that wasn't the normal. And if you hear me in certain interviews, I always speak about I've grown up in good neighborhoods, bad neighborhoods, worse neighborhoods. And the worst things I saw actually in the good neighborhoods. And what I mean by that is that's where I saw, most of the FBI when they would show up, ATF when they would show up, DEA when they would show up. And growing up like that is why I always speak about taking my life from a negative to a positive. And getting involved with the team, I was hearing Justin speak before, this is deeper than sponsorships. This is a movement. This is a revolution / taking a sport and creating a culture. Because when we first opened Slam, we had brought a NASCAR to Slam the first day 8 years ago. And if you would have seen the look on those kids' faces when they saw that car, they just had no clue that it was actually something that was tangible. And since that day is when I said, wow, one way or another, I'm a big believer in the law of attraction, I'm going to be involved in it. And there's no better time than to be involved in NASCAR with Trackhouse, Daniel, Justin, and Ty than now. Because it's all about creating awareness. And the same way that music is a universal language, I also see NASCAR as a universal language because everybody loves a fast car and a great story,
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Our next question will come from Michelle Martinelli. Go ahead with the question, Michelle.
Hi, this question is for Pitbull. Why you've done so many different things with your school and with Slam, but why get involved in NASCAR now? Was there something about Daniel or Trackhouse that attracted you, or had you always wanted to be a sports team owner or specifically a NASCAR team owner?
Always wanted to be a team owner one way or another, no matter the sport. But NASCAR, funny enough, I've been a fan of NASCAR since the movie of Days of Thunder, when I got a chance to see what it was about. I would say from that perspective. As far as with Daniel, by default or / design, I heard about Daniel 10 years ago through a friend of mine in Mexico named Carlos Slim Jr. And he was talking to me about Daniel when he was about 17, 18 years old, which he is a big, big fan. The Slim family are big racing fans. So I go back to the law of attraction, and here I am 10 years later when I've also met Daniel at different concerts through a family that we also know, which is the Sabaté family. And now to be here next to him making history with Justin, Ty, and Daniel, for him being, I would say, coming against all odds into the United States of America, with coming from humble beginnings over in Mexico to coming here and winning a race, which happened to actually be in Miami, in Homestead. So the stories run parallel, they coincide, and it just makes sense because we're all here for one reason and one reason only, is to create awareness clearly for NASCAR, clearly for Trackhouse, but more than anything to show that this brings people together. And if there's anything we need in these times right now, it's something that unites people, not divides people. And that's what we're here to do through this platform/opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
We'll come from Kelly Crandall. Go ahead with the question, Kelly.
Thank you. I have a question for Daniel. Daniel, how focused, how locked in have you been in this off season to prepare? Justin had told me a couple weeks ago that he's very pleased with your focus and you doing everything you need to do to get ready for this opportunity.
Daniel, you're muted, bud.
Oh, sorry about that, Kelly. Let me start with that question, saying that this off season is been probably the most productive I have had in very long time. If we think back, for the last few years through the off season, I've been trying to put my racing together, to work with the new people I want to have. And for the first time in actually a few years, I already knew since before the season was over exactly what I was going to be doing. And when you are that, with that much time ahead, you can actually organize yourself, you can work hard, and you can put everything on perspective. And for me, it was extremely important, obviously, to get together with Justin, with Ty Norris, that made this happen, and put everything, our goals in perspective of how we're going to be able to achieve these things. Because as I mentioned before, everything that Justin, Ty, Pitbull now want to do outside the racetrack is amazing, and I love all those things. At the same time, competition is extremely important for me. I know I can win races. I've done it before, championships as well. And I want to do that in the cup level. And that's actually what I'm having for breakfast, lunch, and dinner right now, because that's what I want to do. I want to prove out there what I'm capable of. And that's what I'm thinking right now. I really want to go out there, compete, have fun, enjoy this time, and just enjoy the ride, because you don't have this opportunity to have an amazing team owner adjusting with Pitbull now, Ty Norris, and Chevrolet, to go there and have fun and be competitive. So I really feel like I'm in a very fortunate position, and I'm really looking forward to make the most of it.
Great. Our next question will come from Giselle Zura with Fox Deportes. Go ahead with the question.
Thank you very much. Pitbull, la pregunta es para ti. Ya la he respondido en inglés, pero también escucharla en español. ¿Por qué decidiste invertir en NASCAR y además vas a ser el Grand Marshal en Daytona 500, ¿no? Una carrera que todos los pilotos quieren ganar? ¿Qué significa para ti este honor que te hace la NASCAR? Gracias.
Bueno, es un gran honor. Y como estaba diciendo, la respuesta en inglés, esto para mí es algo mucho más grande, no solamente lo que es las carreras, NASCAR, Pitbull, Trackhouse. Esto lo que viene siendo es nosotros enseñándole al mundo entero que por NASCAR y vamos a unir el público con la cultura de nosotros y enseñarle a todo el mundo que es algo que necesitamos ahora mismo en estos tiempos más que nada, y es muy importante. Y gracias a Dios por la música que me ha dado la oportunidad de poder ser, vamos a decir, parte dueño de lo que viene siendo este equipo. Es un gran honor, algo que yo nunca en mi vida me imaginado, de que yo voy a estar en esta posición ahora mismo. Pero para estar aquí con Daniel, con Ty y también con Justin, es para enseñarle a la cultura, no solamente es un deporte, pero crear una cultura en NASCAR. Y también para darle motivación e inspiración a todos los latinos allá afuera, dejarles saber que, oye, ustedes también pueden ser parte de un gran deporte y una cultura tan grande en los Estados Unidos. Y nosotros también queremos llevarlo a otro nivel y hacer algo también internacionalmente. Como siempre digo, para adelante, para arriba, no mires para atrás ni para impulso. y dime con quién tú andas y te digo quién tú eres. Y mira, nosotros estamos andando con unas gran personas en un gran deporte y vamos a crear una gran cultura. So, prepárense que esto es historia.
Gracias.
No, gracias a ti.
Nuestra siguiente pregunta es de Irmán Salazar.
Got it. That was good, man.
Armando, gracias. Gracias, Matt, ahí con el español. Armando, Germán Salazar de Telemundo en Tampa, un par de preguntas para ti. Primero, ¿era esto un sueño que a lo mejor tenías de involucrar? Sabemos que eres un gran negociante y a lo mejor ves esto como un negocio, pero de pronto dentro de ti tenías de jovencito, de pequeño, alguna motivación de meterse en esto del automovilismo y te vas a subir en esos automóviles, en el de Daniel o no, en el autódromo.
Yo creo que Daniel sí quiere que me monte en el carro también porque me quiere asustar. Pero yo me motivé en el deporte de NASCAR cuando vi la película que se llama Days of Thunder, que salió como en 1990, 91 por ahí. Y desde ese tiempo siempre tenía una intriga de lo que viene siendo NASCAR y no solamente de lo que viene siendo los carros, pero también la historia de NASCAR y dónde viene NASCAR. Ellos también tienen una historia que fue de algo negativo a algo positivo. So, el que no entiende la historia de NASCAR, ellos empezaron porque en los tiempos de lo que se llama Prohibition, cuando el alcohol era ilegal en los Estados Unidos, ellos fueron y hicieron estos carros para poder mover el alcohol de un estado a otro estado. ¿Tú me entiendes? Ahora, cogieron toda esa cultura y lo hicieron algo positivo. Y es algo lo que yo he hecho en mi vida con la música y lo que viene siendo de la ciudad donde yo vengo y lo que yo he visto, ¿no? So, para mí, esto es algo que es historia, pero vamos a seguir usando la palabra cultura y enseñando que la gente cuando se enfocan pueden hacer lo que quieran con su vida. Mira lo que Daniel ha hecho con su vida en NASCAR y la historia que él tiene, lo que ha hecho en la música y lo que Justin y Ty en nosotros, ellos tienen la visión de invertir en nosotros porque ellos ven que esto es mucho más grande que no solamente de lo que es las carreras, pero es la historia de yo y Daniel juntos y cómo nosotros vamos a inspirar y motivar la cultura de nosotros con NASCAR.
Armando, está la fiebre del Super Bowl aquí en la Florida, aquí en la ciudad de Tampa. Me imagino que tú le vas a los Miami Dolphins, pero ¿a quién le vas a ir al Super Bowl? ¿Le vas a ir a los Buccaneers o le vas a ir a los Kansas City Chiefs?
Man. Sí, siempre le voy a los Dolphins, pero vamos a ver cuando ellos lleguen. Ojalá el año que viene. Yo voy por Tampa Bay. A mí es parte de la Florida número 1, pero número 2, la historia de Tom Brady es algo que, a mí, ese tipo es un campeón. No importa donde tú lo pongas a él, él va y él viene y le da 150,000% siempre. Y es una persona que yo de verdad le tengo mucho respeto. So, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, ya tú sabes.
Gracias, Armando. La próxima para Daniel. Daniel, sabemos de que las escuderías anteriores donde has estado, a lo mejor no está todo esto que trae Armando consigo, toda esta prensa, todo este color que se mueve alrededor de Armando, de Pitbull. Va a ser más difícil manejar, concentrarte para tus carreras con Pitbull a tu alrededor.
Fíjate que, Germán, yo estoy me siento muy afortunado. Me siento muy afortunado de estar en esta posición, muy agradecido con Dios por esta gran oportunidad. La gente que me conoce sabe qué tan fuerte he trabajado para poder poco a poco, paso a paso, ir cambiando un poquito la forma que los latinos ven a NASCAR y poder traer más latinos, más hispanos a las pistas. Obviamente con el programa de Daniel's Amigos y muchas cosas que he tratado de hacer en conjunto con NASCAR para poder avanzar en este proyecto. Y es algo que toma mucho tiempo y mucho trabajo también. Pero es algo que yo tengo una pasión muy grande y yo recuerdo hace 7, 8 años, yo pensaba, si no lo hago yo, ¿quién lo va a hacer? Siendo el único mexicano, el único latino en NASCAR el día de hoy. Entonces, para mí, realmente, tener la oportunidad de trabajar y de tener una gran amistad ahora con Pitbull como parte de Trackhouse Racing, no podría pedir nada más. O sea, realmente eso es algo increíble. Me siento muy afortunado. Creo que Pitbull no solamente va a ayudar al equipo, pero me va a ayudar a mí en lo personal y va a ayudar a todo el deporte en general. Todo lo que hemos estado haciendo en los últimos años para traer latinos a las pistas y demás, realmente va a incrementar demasiado con la simple presencia de Pitbull y me siento muy afortunado de poder estar en esta posición con Justin, con Chai y ahora con mi buen amigo Pitbull as parte de Trackhouse Racing.
Gracias y éxitos en Daytona. Te veo por allí.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Our next question will come from Claire B. Lang. Go ahead with the question, Claire.
Thank you. Pitbull, my question is for Pitbull. You have such an incredibly powerful presence, and anyone who follows your music knows that. As as I read the quotes about what you plan to do with the global demographic that's ready to be inspired into action for themselves, I was motivated, but when I hear you speak of it, it's just unbelievable. What do you feel about being the Grand Marshal for the Daytona 500? And can you use that with your presence for the global initiative that you talk about?
I have a quote that I always say, why dream when you can live it? And it just goes to show you, Justin was saying it when he was speaking, he said, we're taking the impossible and making it possible. And it's something that my daughter taught me. She said, if you take the word impossible and you just put an apostrophe in it, it's impossible, if you spaced it out. So it just goes to show you that through motivation and inspiring and let people know out there that no matter what, we're always going to find a way to bring people together. And that's what I'm all about, because especially in these times that we're living in right now, well, as you can see, I'm in the school right now. I'm late for class, folks. I got to go to the principal's office. But as you can see, at these times that we're living in right now, the most important thing is just let everybody know out there that there's only one race, and the most important race, that's the human race. And that's what these races are about at this point, just bringing the sport, creating the culture, motivating everybody out there, and letting them know that, hey, through these races, through the cars, and through our stories, we just want everybody out there to enjoy, and we're going to utilize it as a form of unifying everybody out there. Because when me, Daniel, Ty, and Justin sat down, clearly there's no hidden agenda here. It's all about winning. It's all about creating a successful team. It's all about creating amazing sponsorship around Daniel. And it's about believing in Daniel, right? But we all sat at the table wanting more than that. And that to me is priceless. That to me is what this is all about. And that's why I wanted to get involved, because I see that it's a higher calling. And it's really about utilizing the culture, creating a culture in NASCAR to bring people together. And I know it because I've seen it and I live it. Music is a universal language. When I'm out there performing for everybody, it doesn't matter whether you speak English, Spanish, Chinese, Italian, you're black, white, pink, purple, orange, it doesn't matter. We all speak music when we're there. So when it comes to NASCAR and watching the cars race, it's all about letting everybody know that no matter what in life, if you focus, you work hard for it, you can achieve it. And that's my story, and that's Daniel's story. And that's why we appreciate Justin and Ty investing into us as far as believing in us. And we're here to win and show the world how to bring everybody together through NASCAR and Trackhouse.
Incredibly motivating. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Next question will come from Taryn Wack with NASCAR.com. Go ahead with your question, Taryn.
Hi, my question is for Pitbull, and it goes back to Trackhouse's STEM aspirations. Was that really the selling point for you in this partnership? And how do you hope the STEM program aligns with your STEM schools?
Oh, it was absolutely the selling point. If you see what I've done in the last 8 years in education, I never put my face next to anything as for propaganda. There has to be the grassroots of it, something that's real. Because if it's not real, then clearly we're going to see that in the near future, which is not going to be the case. We're all here. We're all on the same page, all about an initiative of bringing everybody together and utilizing, like I said before, our stories of basically from nothing to something, from negative to positive, and how we can utilize the platform of NASCAR to do so. Now, one of the neighborhoods I come from in Miami is called Wynwood, and there's a big slogan in Wynwood. It says, "Don't talk about it, be about it." And if there's one thing, I'm always here to be about it. And that's why I'm even having this conversation / interview from one of our schools in Miami, in one of our neighborhoods, which on this block, we have about close to 3,000 kids right now in just this one school. So it's to take the same thing that we've done in education, that we've done in music, that we've done in entertainment, that we've done in business, and apply it to what we're about to do in NASCAR and track house, and watch Daniel win some races and bring it home.
Vámonos.
Dale que tú puedes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question is going to come from Jenna Fryer. Go ahead with your question, Jenna.
Sorry.
Jenna?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. I have two questions for Pitbull. The first is you've talked about you like the movie Days of Thunder that drew you to NASCAR. Days of Thunder and other movies about NASCAR, they tend to be a little stereotypical and Southern and white. And I'm wondering what you liked about the movie and what you like about NASCAR and why it appealed to you.
What I love about NASCAR is the ultimate underdog story, and I'm your ultimate underdog. You know, and when you're an underdog, you got a chip on your shoulder. You're a fighter, you're a champion, and you welcome failure. And what I mean by that, failure becomes the mother of your success. And I tell people all the time, there's no losing, only learning, and no failure, only opportunities, and no problems, just solutions. And when I saw the movie Days of Thunder, and I love documentaries. And when I saw a documentary that was actually a private showing, but it's called Blink of an Eye, I relate to that fight. I relate to be in those positions where people think, there's no way you're going to make it out of this. And not only do I relate, I respect for what those drivers go through and how they have to be so mentally fit that no matter what, look at it and go, we're going to get through this one way or another. And that is the sign of a true champ. And that's why I relate to it the most, you know, and the negative to positive story.
I love it. My second question is how involved do you think that you'll be with the team, and how will you maybe be more successful than other celebrity owners? And sort of also part of that, do you and Daniel, can you team together and further broaden NASCAR's audience?
Oh, we definitely will, as we already have to a certain extent. Number two, we are fully involved with the team and committed to the team since the minute that we ended up doing this deal and it was signed, sealed, and delivered. All we've done is basically every day, each team speaking to each other on how we're going to continue to move this forward and coming up with innovative, untraditional, and unconventional ideas and ways to, I go back to take it from a sport and create a culture around it. And as far as I'm going to circle back because I want to make sure that by the time we finish this interview, it's programmed in you guys. The reason that I got involved in this is because it was a greater initiative. And the greater initiative is what we need more than ever, especially in these times. And I'll say it again, one race only, the human race. And if we could do it through music, if we could do it through NASCAR, and by entertaining, motivating, and inspiring them, then that's why I signed up for it. And just to make it clear, I'm far from a celebrity. That I'm not. I'm a hard worker. Big difference. Celebrities will sell anything. I'm not here to sell anything. I'm here to help the culture, help unify, and more than anything, help motivate and inspire those through my story, through Daniel's story, Justin's story, Ty's story, and NASCAR's story.
Hey, Justin and Daniel, if you guys could both talk about that. Justin, you've talked about you want the team to be bigger than to be more than just about racing. And Daniel, how does Pitbull help you with your platforms?
Well, for me, I just, like I said before, I just feel extremely fortunate. Actually, I mentioned this in Spanish. That's why I'm gonna kind of like in a way repeat my answer in English. You know, the people that know me closely, they know that I've been working extremely hard throughout my career, not just to be successful in the racetrack, but also to be successful outside the racetrack. What that means, 7-8 years ago, I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm the only Mexican, the only Latino in NASCAR, the only guy that can speak Spanish. If I don't try to do something to bring Latinos to a racetrack, who is going to do it? So in that day, I started working with NASCAR to try to do different things, to try to bring Latinos to a racetrack. And that's when Daniel's Amigos was born. And then we started doing different things different programs to try to bring Latinos to a racetrack. At the same time, always competition comes number one. Competition for me is the first step, that everything has to come after that. And if you're successful on the racetrack, you can do everything else, and it makes your life easier and everything else. And all this work that I've been doing with NASCAR, with some of my sponsors that they have helped me through all this, especially Coca-Cola. Now having Pitbull on board in a race team with Justin Mark and Ty Norris is something huge. He's not called Mr. Worldwide just because nothing. He's extremely well known, worldwide, and the Latino community love him, and I think it's a huge plus, a huge help to have someone like Pitbull, super close to a race team to help us in many things, but obviously, just to bring the community together and to bring more Latinos to a racetrack, to this team, and to make this team something different, something young, something cool, something modern, and that's obviously what we are trying to do.
Jenna, you asked about, aligned visions. I mean, in the early stages of sort of envisioning what Trackhouse was going to be, how we were going to be different than traditional racing teams, and how we were going to build a platform that's viable for the future and a long term. I mean, it became very clear early on that we wanted a cause marketing, a philanthropic community involvement element of our team that wasn't an afterthought, that was really deeply intertwined in the DNA of the company. Because I think we're, as sort of Armando alluded to, and a lot of people talk about here, I mean, we're entering an era where it's becoming more and more important for companies in this country to make sure that they're giving back to the community, that they're empowering the next generation of people, and that an element of what they do makes America a better place. And that goes from the sandwich shop on the corner to Amazon and everything in between, is that everybody shares a responsibility. And we're like the luckiest people on earth because we get to go to a racetrack and put race cars on the racetrack. And I think if we're going to have such a tremendous opportunity to do that, we need to make it a core fundamental element of our team that we're doing some good in the world and we're giving back to the world. And I think that aligns so well. And you guys have heard how passionately Armando talks about this with what he's doing with his SLAM schools that are, not only wonderful schools in their own, but also part of a bigger nationwide network of schools that allows us to build a STEM education experience for underrepresented minority youth or youth in general in this country that wouldn't otherwise have an opportunity to be exposed to that. And we can really scale that over time. And using NASCAR as the platform, Trackhouse as the platform, I think we're in the early stages of discussing it, but I think the definition of success, at least early on, will be, a STEM discipline experience set up at each and every one of Armando's schools, and having, thousands and thousands of kids be able to be exposed to this and use NASCAR to say, look, there is so much opportunity in this world. You can be engineers, mathematicians, scientists, you can build things. I mean, and not just STEM, but design and finance, entrepreneurialism, all that. So I think without being too long-winded here, it goes back to the fact that we have a responsibility as people, and we have a responsibility as companies in America to make sure not only are we building a successful enterprise, but we're building something to empower the next generation of people, and we're leaving a legacy. And I think that's so consistent with what's important to Armando that it just makes the partnership make sense. And I think that there's so much opportunity for us in the future.
Well said.
Nuestra siguiente pregunta es de Carlos Eustace de Telemundo Bay Area. Adelante, Carlos.
Thank you. Just real quick for Justin, what are the biggest challenges that you face as a new team, obviously, to be competitive and win races beyond the message, which I think is fantastic, and also how's your Spanish shaping up? And for Armando, estás hablando de cómo integrar estas historias, y es bien interesante porque, por ejemplo, yo soy de México, nací en México como Daniel y después viví en Miami mucho tiempo, y tú eres una persona que nació en Estados Unidos pero es latina, Daniel es un inmigrante y Justin obviamente trae otra visión. ¿Cómo juntar esas tres visiones para terminar con ese mensaje que ustedes están buscando?
I'll jump in there first. I told Daniel, I said, you come drive for me, I'll learn Spanish. So I'm just at the early stages. Not only do I have a driver, but now I have a partner. So I have to be able to, they can't start talking in Spanish at the meetings and me not know what they're talking about. So I'm going to, yeah, no, look, this is, NASCAR is obviously, it's a very, very, it's the most competitive form of motorsport in the world, I believe. I've got experience owning race teams before, never at this level. I'm leaning on that experience in communicating with the guys, with the pit crew, with the mechanics, the engineers, everybody with the race team, and making sure that they're appreciated, that they're empowered, that they have an opportunity to do their jobs to the best of their ability. I think that having this next gen car getting delayed to 2022 sort of is a blessing in disguise for us, because it gives us an opportunity to really build our team and to build our culture and to just develop our relationships, Daniel's relationships with Travis, the pit crew, finding continuity and working together. So then when that new car comes this fall leading into next year, we're a cohesive group and we can focus on trying to make sure that race car is as fast as possible. And that's the work right now. I think we're going to learn a lot. I have to learn a lot. I'm learning every day. I'm very fortunate to have a guy like Ty Norris working at Trackhouse, because he's got, many years of experience in this sport and can make sure that I'm, thinking the right way about certain things, putting stuff on my plate that I didn't necessarily think was an element of NASCAR racing, and helping me guide through that. But look, we're here for a long time, and I'm trying to build the next one of the next great NASCAR teams, and I think that means at this stage making sure that we get a group of people that work well together, and we focus on making sure that group is cohesive and is building relationships with each other. And I think that's the most important thing right now. As we start getting to the racetrack and start racing, we'll work on all the racing stuff, but it's about that next car, and it's about building the Trackhouse framework so we're successful for a long time.
Now, my friend, you want me to answer you in English or in Spanish?
As you please, whatever you feel more comfortable with.
Well, as far as Justin, he's already halfway there, because he looks like he's Canelo's cousin.
For real.
That's the first thing he said to me when he walked in at lunch.
I remember.
Number two, it goes to show you that exactly what we're doing with the team, the diversity through the team, whether it's Daniel being from Mexico, coming over to the United States, me being first generation Cuban American, and what my family did as far as fleeing communism in Cuba, for me to enjoy the beautiful thing called freedom here in the USA. To be there with Justin, and Ty, it already shows you that we're leading by example. All of us are coming from different places, but all of us are aligned on one goal. Now, obviously, there's no hidden agenda. We want to win. We want to make sure that we create a very successful team, but creating a legacy at the same time, that we're all about giving back, motivating and inspiring, and creating that culture of letting people know, and also educating folks on what NASCAR is, the history of NASCAR. And also I'm learning every day more and more about NASCAR as well, as I will about the car, as I will about the driver, as we will as far as from the investments and all that. But the reason when we sat down that really motivated me about this opportunity was just that there was that greater initiative. Because that's how you, for one, that's priceless, and that's how you become living legends and leave behind an amazing legacy. Because for me, bottom line, living is giving.
Suerte a todos y nos estamos viendo.
Ahí estamos.
Nuestra siguiente pregunta es de Eric Mora.
Hi, my question is for Daniel. Dani, mucho gusto saludarte otra vez. Es tu cuarta escudería. ¿Cómo ha sido tu preparación? ¿Cómo ha sido el proceso hasta el momento? ¿Cómo te has sentido? Porque recordemos que empezar en una nueva escudería es siempre complicado. El año pasado fue muy difícil y lo estuvimos platicando en diferentes entrevistas. ¿Cómo te has sentido hasta el momento? ¿Cómo te sientes en cara a lo que ya va a ser esta temporada? ¿Y qué vas a hacer diferente para que los resultados se den de manera un poco más inmediata que en años anteriores?
Un gusto saludarte, Eric. Bueno, primero que nada, obviamente contento en la posición en la que estoy. Los años anteriores creo que mucha gente los podría llamar malos. Yo los tomo como muchos de ellos experiencias En todos y cada uno de ellos he aprendido cosas muy importantes. Afortunadamente o desafortunadamente, yo no tengo un papá o un tío o nadie que venga de carreras con toda la experiencia en mi familia que yo pueda ir a pedir consejos. Muchas de estas experiencias las he tenido que tomar yo solo y he tenido que picar piedra yo solo y aprender cómo van pasando los errores. Y fíjate que una de las cosas más importantes que he aprendido, que definitivamente pienso que esta es la clave para poder ser exitoso muy rápido en este 2021, es solamente una palabra: la gente. La gente es lo que hace el éxito. Si estás involucrada con la gente adecuada, vas a ser exitoso. Tienes que tener un buen pit crew, tienes que tener obviamente un buen equipo. El equipo es muy importante, pero la gente es lo que hace el equipo. Buen ingeniero, buen crew chief, un buen dueño de equipo, una buena administración que esté detrás de ti. Y sinceramente, el día de hoy estoy más que contento del grupo de personas que forman parte de este equipo. Desde la persona que maneja el tráiler hasta los dueños de equipo como Justin Marks, como Pitbull, Ty Norris y demás. Toda la gente está unida, quieren trabajar, tienen hambre de ganar, al igual que yo. Yo lo hice muchas veces. Si yo estuviera aquí para correr 20, ese va a ser el día que yo voy a tener que tomar la decisión de tal vez regresar a mi país o hacer otra cosa. Yo estoy aquí para ganar, para hacer un cambio y para poder ser competitivo. Soy demasiado competitivo en todo lo que hago, ya sea jugar a las canicas, jugar cartas o carreras. Y me encanta ganar, al igual que a todos los miembros de este equipo. Y me siento muy afortunado de ser parte de este equipo que es Trackhouse Racing, y creo que este 2021 va a venir con muchas sorpresas.
And our final question is going to come from Jeff Gluck. Go ahead with your question, Jeff.
Yeah, is this for Armando? I understand the mission with the schools and STEM and the desire to unify people and the cultural aspects of NASCAR, but there's a lot of race teams out there that you probably could have been a part of. How did you even hear of these guys and Justin Marks, and how did they get in the same room as you to pitch you on this?
Well, as we started this interview, I told you I'm a big believer in the law of attraction. And I happened to be up in North Carolina having a conversation with someone named Pam Miller. I was talking to her about what NASCAR meant to the kids when they first saw it here in Slam in Miami 8 years ago. She was talking to me about a documentary she was working on. And as we kept talking about different ways to be able to educate the public on NASCAR and hearing about how they wanted to diversify as far as when it came to culture and utilizing the sport on bringing everybody together, that's how it all came about. So really, Pam is the one that connected us, seeing that our visions aligned. And I would say about a week later, we were all together in Miami, sat down. Daniel, I knew through the Sabate family years ago and was spoken to me about him and his career of Carlos Slim Jr., which is a friend of mine down in Mexico. So when all of this came together and then we sat down and it was just bigger than, it wasn't just, we got to have a winning rate or a winning team. We got to do the sponsorship. We got to create this. No, I was like, look, we're going to do that. Okay, we're going to do that. But really what this is about is this. How do we make this something more powerful? How do we make this so that it's historical? And how do we make this so that we break barriers, boundaries, limits, and bring everybody together through this? And that is what really made me go, okay, this is what I want to be involved with. Because I tell people all the time, I wouldn't want $1 billion business and have $1 trillion headache. It's all about the people that you're with. It's about the journey. And Daniel was just saying it in Spanish right now. It's about the team, the environment that you're around. And if you're around a great environment, a positive environment, a winning environment, but an environment that wants to give back and understand that's what life's really all about, they say, why say that the sky's the limit when you know that there's footprints on the moon? Well, we're on our way to the moon with Trackhouse.
Vamos.
Dale.
Good deal. Well, gentlemen, thank you for taking the time for joining us today. Danny and Justin and Armando. Pitbull, you're going to be saying the command to start the 63rd running of the Great American Race at Daytona 500. So that's got to be a cool achievement for you, right?
It really is. It's an amazing honor. I look forward to it. And like I said, I just hope that, not that I hope, I know that what we're going to do is, man, it's history in the making, bottom line. And by the way, I love the guitars that you got back there.
Thank you, brother.
So you're going to hear me at Daytona like this. Yeah! Let's go.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Well, you guys have a great one, and we will see you soon in Daytona Beach. Take care.
Hey, thank you, guys. Appreciate all you guys. Stay blessed. God bless, and see y'all soon.
Thank you very much, everyone. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Dale.
Bye.